great things are going and what he's going to do, etc. This is something that presidents do, and that time span, sometimes it's 29 minutes or it can be an hour and some change. Today I want to just deal with the spiritual state of the union. The spiritual state of the union. The spiritual state of the union is terrible. Okay, you can tell just by things that are taking place around you that this country is in a state of moral decay. Okay, and the sins of this country are rising toward heaven, higher and higher. The cup of iniquity will reach its brim, and then you will have judgment from the Lord. I think back to just last night when I recollect on what the president stated. He started off by talking about Hitler and how Hitler, was a threat, obviously, during World War II. And I'm certainly not an advocate for what Hitler was doing, but some things are just based on perspective. It was Hitler who put in motion what people call the Holocaust, where 6 million roughly were killed. Those are estimates. Can waver. But I think about what America has done since Roe v. Wade, where not 6 million babies have been aborted, but 60 million plus. And so, I look at that the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, and that was a watershed moment, but what it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for the United States to do as Nineveh did, to slow the inevitable demise. But what did America do? This is from Forbes, and I'm going to read this. This is from February 28th, 2024. The headline is, abortion rates have been consistently elevated since Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, study finds. So they overturned Roe v. Wade, and yet abortion is still running rampant. It's actually increased. This just shows the moral decay that America is in. This country is bloodthirsty. This article says the Supreme Court's ruling has impacted abortion access, with the study finding that if the court hadn't overturned Roe, 120,930 abortions would have occurred in 14 states that have banned abortion in the wake of the ruling. These states include Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Well, what was the impact of this? Those decreases have been offset by surges in other states where abortion has remained legal. So people can just obviously go over the border and go over the border of a state and get an abortion. With the largest influx of patients in Illinois, Florida, and California, along with other increases in New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts. As if New York needs some more abortions. I remember New York City in particular, at one point they were having more abortions than live births. Abortions obtained via telehealth made up an estimated 16% of all abortions in September 2023. The study found with between 13,770 and 14,110 telehealth abortions monthly between July and September. The hashtag WeCount figures are based on both medication and clinical abortions carried out in healthcare settings. Notice they do not include self-managed abortions, and the telehealth numbers include telehealth abortions carried out through abortion clinics and in cases where abortion pills are mailed into states that ban or restrict the procedure. I just saw last week, I believe it was last week, it might have been earlier this week, late last week, early this week, where the Vice President Kamala Harris was congratulating Walgreens and CVS for the pharmacies for providing abortion pills. The president also stated that that women have power as far as electoral and political power. So he's trying to steer the ship of issues from the border to abortion, and everybody clapped and cheered. Again, this country is in a state of moral decay when you kill children at the rate that this country does. And I talk about this often. I wrote a book about it called Killing Black Innocents. I did that once I realized, I did it some years ago now, a little over a decade now, but I once I realized what was going on, I felt compelled to talk about it and to try to speak for those who cannot speak, at least the best way I could. This is Exodus the 21st chapter. I want to read here because the Bible clearly tells you that there is personhood in the womb and that the child in the womb should be protected. This is Exodus 21 and verse 22. Notice what it says here. It says, if a man strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judge is determined. And notice, so now, if, in other words, if two men are in an altercation, a physical altercation, and in the process one of them injures a woman, pushes her over, or whatever happens to cause her to go into premature labor, that man would be fined, okay? And what would be paid would be termed, he shall pay as the judge is determined. But notice what it says here. And if any mischief followed. Now, he had to pay if no mischief followed. He had to pay for the fact that that woman went into labor prematurely. But let's say something happened to the child. Notice what it says here. And this is key because this shows us that the baby, at least biblically, the baby has rights. The baby is a human. They come up with terms fetus, and they come up with these arbitrary trimesters as well. Baby is up. They want to base it on development, or base it on how much pain. This is a life. Life begins at conception. It says, and if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. There's a life in the womb. You think about it, this is really crazy, even if you think about it in the American context, where if somebody murders a woman who's pregnant, that's double homicide. But a woman can go to an abortion clinic in a number of states, or can take a pill to kill the child. This is a problem. It's more than a problem. Psalms 139. This is genocide. And this is not hyperbole. It is actual genocide. Let's pick it up in Psalms, the 139th division of Psalms, at verse 13. It says concerning, so this right here lets you know again that the Lord is involved in the birth of a child. We are his offspring. And we'll talk about what the potential that we have as his offspring. But it says, for thou hast possessed, this is a Psalm of David. He said, he's talking about the Lord. He said, for thou hast possessed my reins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will raise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. So that's figurative language referring to the fashioning of the baby in the darkness of the womb. This is Psalms 127th division. So, as they cheer about killing their babies, the Bible actually values the child. This is Psalms 127 and verse 3. It says, lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Okay, so children are a blessing. Right now, and in a lot of countries in the West, you have negative birth rates. Japan is going through a crisis right now. So this says something again about the state of the union. When you are killing your most vulnerable, you clearly are in a state of spiritual decay. He goes on to write, as arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. It used to be, I want to say around 1850, it was the average house had anywhere from 6 to 9 children in America. Today, you say you have 6 children, and people look at you like you have a plague. How could you? But the Bible tells you the purpose of why He even brought man and woman together in the institution of marriage. What is the ultimate objective of marriage? Is it for two men to come together and 2 women to come together and bring about confusion? No. This is because that is confusion. This is Malachi, the 2nd chapter, Malachi 2. He tells you what He brought you together for. He says, and did not He make one? This is Malachi 2:15. And did He not make one? Yet had He the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one? He made them one flesh. Notice, and another thing, He made them male and female, right? He didn't make them a male, and He didn't come up with it's 2 genders, male and female. Okay? And now you may have in your warped mind, because you've been socially engineered and socially conditioned, or because the mind is desperately wicked, who can know it, that you come with these ideas that you can change what you are. No, you are. You know what you are. You're physically. All you have to do is look down. Now, some would say, if you two have a true anomaly, like a hermaphrodite, like in truth, that is an anomaly. That is not the norm. Okay, you have people thinking like they're trans. I've seen a trans penguin before. I've seen a trans dog before. People have lost their minds. He didn't make you into a dog. If you're a man, he made you a male. That's what you are. He made you a female. That's what you are. And so He says, nevertheless, He said, and did not He make one, yet had He the residue of the Spirit, and wherefore one? That He might seek a godly seed. So He brought the man and woman together in the institution of marriage, okay, to bring forth a godly seed. Now, He didn't bring you together to make one with a harlot. And if you just look at syphilis rates, they're up well over 100% in this country. 5% of women that are married today, when they marry, they're virgins. Again, America's in a state of spiritual decay. He didn't give you sex for you to defile yourself. He didn't give you sex to defile others. He didn't give you sex as just recreationally something to do. It was in the confines of marriage that he brought that act. And that was, again, to bring forth a godly seed. And what is the potential of man? Let's pick it up in Psalms, the 82nd division. It said, God standeth, in verse 1, it says, God standeth in the congregation, He judgeth among the gods. Now, what He's talking about here, He's talking about man, okay? When He says He judges among the gods, there, the word is Elohim. Sometimes Elohim can refer to simply men that are rulers. He said, how long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Okay, so He says, how long will injustice reign? He says, defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Again, this is a problem. So He looks down upon man. When He looks down at man, this is what He sees. In this country, He sees a country that murders its children. Okay? And it is not like, not only does it murder its children, but it doesn't care about children at all. You know that because of what's going on the border. What's going on the border? Well, you've got, some say in the last year, roughly 10 million people to come in. You got people from other countries that are hostile to the United States of military age coming in. I'm sure you have terrorist cells coming in. You have people coming in with disease. You don't know what kind of disease they have. And it's you have to wonder, this isn't the old form of warfare. This is a side note. The old form of warfare, you would invade the countries with troops. You don't need to invade countries with troops anymore. You don't even have to use bullets to wage war. America's at war. I'm not talking about Ukraine. Okay? America's at war There are outside entities pushing a degenerate culture in the United States. They're pushing the invasion in the United States. They're buying up land in the United States. They're using biological warfare in the United States. They're using espionage in the United States. They're using the stealing of patented weaponry and technology and reverse engineering it. This is all happening in the United States. There's a cultural war in the United States. But people aren't paying attention. They're too busy on TikTok. This is from Fox. It's GOP AGs, Attorney Generals, press Biden administration to act after reports that 85,000 migrant children are missing. 85,000 are missing. Then it says possibly trafficked. What does it say here? Deliver the poor. It says defend the poor and fatherless. This is from Fox. This is from MSN, but it says first on Fox. It says nearly 24 Republican attorney generals are imploring the Biden administration to act following grim reports that 85,000 migrant children are missing, with quote unquote reason to believe that some are being trafficked. You think? See, for